When did you first go to China first?
I didn't go there until very late. I was in the Philippines for 18 years, in Nepal for 10 years, and in the Holy Land for another 10 years. And then in 1999, the opportunity came to China. And that's why I joined Maryknoll, to go to China. But in 1999 it came, so that's when I went in 1999.
Tell us a little bit about your work in China and your ministry. What have you done there?
Well, in China, 99% of the priests who go into China get involved in teaching, particularly teaching English in the university. They want a foreigner native speaker. And it's a wonderful opportunity to meet the Chinese and be with them. And the Chinese students are very easy to teach. They, you know, there's no discipline problems, and they're enthusiastic.
Can you openly function as a priest in China?
Yes and no. First of all, we never wear a collar. I think I wore a collar maybe on 2 occasions. That would cause problems. We don't get up and announce we're a priest, but they found out very quickly, and it was no problem at all. And I taught in the seminary. I never asked permission from the government, and neither did the seminary. And I knew the government officials who came to inspect, you know, I'd have meals with them and things like that. I never had any problem. Problems in China depend sometimes on local situations, and they seem to have a better relationship in Shenyang.
We hear different stories about the church in China. Some say it's a patriotic church.
Yeah.
Some say it's an underground church.
Yeah.
What is the church like? Is it one church? What are we to believe about the church in China today?
I'm glad you asked, because initially, especially in America, we had the idea one church was schismatic. It's not. You have the so-called underground church, which means that it's not recognized by the government, the priests and the bishops. And then you have the open church that is recognized by the government. Now, I, as a foreigner, deal 99% of the time with the open church, because if I related to the underground, I would cause them troubles. Why were you talking to this foreigner? What were you doing? And so forth and so on. And they are as loyal to the Vatican, to the Pope, you know, as anybody here in this country. You know, it's a political division imposed by the government. Since Pope Francis became Pope, no Chinese bishop has been named in the mainland. And the hope of all of us is that there are quiet negotiations going on between Francis and Beijing. But our hopes are not always up, and recently the government has made some very anti-religious statements, because they're probably more concerned about the Islamic tradition today. They're more militant, but then that it represents any foreign influence that they feel. I don't believe the Chinese government is anti-religion. It's just pro-control. They want to dictate everything.
You said you were in Hong Kong. Is the church freer in Hong Kong?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We're much more freedom.
Is the church more visible in Hong Kong?
More visible, and we now have not only a cardinal emeritus and a present cardinal, but we have 3 new auxiliary bishops as of last August. Yeah. And the church plays a big influence in Hong Kong, bigger than its numbers, because in the 1950s, when the missionaries were thrown out of China, a lot of them settled in the squatter huts with the refugees, and they opened schools. And a lot of Chinese, a good percentage of the leadership in the administrative government are Catholics, because of that background in Catholic schools. You know.
What is the future of the Catholic Church in China, and do you see it as a bright one?
Well, yes. Christianity in general is growing rapidly, surprisingly, and particularly the Protestant churches are making many more converts. Nowadays, it's hard to come up with numbers, and I can't remember a lot of numbers, but one number I remember very well, they say today for every Catholic, there's 4 Protestants in China. Part of it is our hierarchical structure in the situation is not an asset. You're more visible. You're easier to attack, so to speak. If I get thrown out of China, it's hard to replace me with another priest. The Protestant mission is it's easier for them, in terms of numbers to do that.